If you knew the world, your very way of life would come to an end, how would you want it to? Running? In a fight against futility? Or perhaps in your remaining time, amend? Attempt to obtain what was never found in life prior? Eden's story takes place in the soon-to-be apocalypse as a giant mass known as the Star of Destruction threatens the near future of life on Earth. Humanity, however, doesn't simply lie in despair, as the human evacuation project sets to take them into the Sea of Stars. A new chapter sets to open as another closes. But this tale isn't anything so grand. Instead, a story of two. Only two. The last love story on the planet known as Earth, where humanity once thrived, and where the last hopes for one couple remained. Immediately being a minority work, are drawn in a sense of awe and wonder by the pleasant ring of piano and glistening artwork, an idyllic plane of freedom, of what will be. But beginnings aren't always so ideal. In a secret facility out in sea, our protagonist, Harunario, a soldier from a special task force, is sent here to guard a person of legend, the Felix Shion, the head behind the evacuation project. But little is seen of her, hardly even coming out of her room, let alone to greet the people who would be her bodyguards. Eden settles you into an air of slight tension, setting its foundation in believable circumstances that all tie back to the current plot. The political sphere as the world was set into panic and the proposals that would push humanity forward. Terrorist groups that fought against the projects that would forsake humanity to the cold depths of space, breaking out revolts that Ryo had to deal with. And the result? The hardened man we see set on this lax mission relative to his ordinary military life. Days that seem to drag under the orders of guarding a girl who goes unseen, though they are anything but dull, thanks to the unusual banter with the older sister-like maid of said girl, Elika. His briefings by Major Inaba, who seems to have a sort of connection to his past, along with his partner Lavier, who has said they have met on the battlefield long ago. Here in this isolated facility, the plot keeps itself at a steady pace, keeping you on your feet, building the wider world and the devastating consequences through its focus on character relationships. Dialogue lays out a very subtle groundwork, hiding just enough to keep you in the dark, in wonder of who these people are as well as how they relate to others. And what better way than seeing this through the eyes of the man Ryo has become? His machine-like mannerisms and curtness of his words that hail from the horrors of war that became his life since childhood. A life where trauma, guilt, regret, all forsake the idea of being a normal human and living for human values. But are tried and true machines truly capable of such reflection? Same could be said for Shion, whose appearance is that of a rarity on this island. For she is a Felix, a genetically modified human for the sake of longevity and supreme intelligence. Considered a genius even amongst the rest, her life too is one that she can hardly look at with pure joy, holding a sort of bitterness and detachment, however small. Trapped, forced to suppress inner emotions and isolated from the joys of life is a path familiar to both. Ryo, whose mind was molded through discipline and matured through war. Shion, akin to a bird trapped in a cage longing for the sky. Both are people who have fundamentally lost a part of their humanity, yet neither are so far gone as to reclaim it. Despite the subtitle of They Were Only Two on the Planet, Eden's sidecast is not cast aside in the least. It's small, with no more than 8 characters, but it works splendidly in the time given. From their mere introduction, the well-crafted dialogue has their words seeped in charisma and perhaps in a bit of mystery as well. Every sentence they deliver, every lesson and feeling they hope to pass on has weight. And in turn, so does the potential consequences they face because of them. A character like Major Inaba, who holds a relatively short screen time, never fails to convey the complex array of emotions through his words, actions, and delivery. He has a blithe air, unbefitting of someone in his position. The casual flow of his speech sounds like he's passing his days with the clearest of minds, and yet are laced with a hint of pain. You get this sort of idea that he's doing the best with the hand he's been dealt. That hand, however, is a dilemma that rends his moral values and duty, further expounded by Ryo's perspective being in the same line of work. A similar line could be drawn over to Elika, who couldn't be more charismatic from her very appearance, where simply being titled Shion's maid is quite the detached understatement. Throughout the hints laid out in the words of both, you slowly put together the more intimate parts of the relationship, their long history with another, and the fundamental foundation to the people they have become. For as cheerful, teasing, and amicable as she can be, the feeling of something deeper being hidden within her heart isn't completely null. The character writing feels so grounded in the delivery of their lines as well. Of course, they have their moments of animated and eccentric personalities, but in the end only serves to accentuate the more down-to-earth delivery. Everyone here contributes widely to Eden's core, being heavily prevalent characters in terms of their own arc and the foundation of both Ryo and Shion. It's this sort of connectiveness they have with him that makes it feel like they never leave the stage. That since they are always in the hearts of the two, will resound splendidly in your own. Eden's greater focus on its characters rather than the wider scope of the approaching apocalypse sets you on a flow that never seems to drag on, but never without letting you soak in the smooth, at times mystical atmosphere set by its music and artwork, made all the more impactful from the dramatic irony of knowing where it will all end. Little is done to defy that expectation. As a result, that sense of finality grounds you to every second, finding what possible meaning lies in these fleeting conversations, in these soon-to-change, unchanging days. It makes even seemingly innocuous scenes in a vacuum strike deep with significance from the context yet to come. The conclusion is foregone, but much like the world of our protagonists, we know our end awaits. One day we will simply fade as all living things do. But does that mean the lives we live are meaningless? While one part is no doubt an exploration of stagnation, the result of a life we think we should lead, the other is overall much more impactful onto a life we desire. Making meaning out of our choices, the potential regrets, and what could have been, all carried out through their own convictions and sacrifices, and there find their Eden, where a self-proclaimed machine finds their humanity, where a doll takes on that of a real girl, and how this story of theirs becomes one of the last on Earth. It's not a choice anyone made, nor a consequence of humanity's sins, but simply a result of happenstance. And from that shining star of death is also one of hope, of new beginnings. Humanity forges possibly many different worlds out in the sea of stars, and the two who never got the chance to know of life's joys finally finds what makes all the pain, all the hardships they faced mean something. Seeing this play out is like watching a piece of art take form. An inspiring story that sees catastrophe not for its destruction, but how we choose to rebuild and fight against despair to hopefully be satisfied with the life we've lived. To move on from regrets and see the hope in the world that no doubt exists. Eden is all about that one fundamental question. Would you feel satisfied in the final moments of your life? No matter the piled up regrets, the dreams far out of reach, it's only in the present that we can define what we accomplish, for we are always continuing to fight for our dearly held beliefs, so that when that long-known, sometimes feared future comes about, we can greet it with a smile. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. And with that, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.